Hello, I'm Zash, and welcome to episode 29 of my G-Senjou no Maou, or the Devil on G-String Let's Read. Joining me, as always, is my co-reader Faith. Kyousuke and Tsubaki have been working together all day today, and Tsubaki has decided to head home. But she had left her diary behind, so Kyousuke, being a decent human being, decided to bring it to her. He saw a dramatic meeting between her and her little brother, and decided now would probably not be the best time to return the diary. So, he decided to ditch her while he could, in typical asshole Kyousuke manner. So, please hopefully enjoy the outcome of Kyosuke's decision. Ellipses. I shouldn't affiliate myself with her anymore. I gave up the idea of making her my assistant. That girl has her own life to live. Now that I've made my decision, I shouldn't hesitate anymore. I can return her diary tomorrow. I turned back and headed for the station. Behind me, in the snow, two siblings played together joyfully. Megalipses. Ellipses. I washed my face before going to sleep. My face reflected misfortune as I looked into the mirror. Tsubaki made a fool out of me with this one. Huh? A guest? But it's already 10 o'clock. I looked at the face behind the speaker and suddenly became annoyed.
Hiya.
What are you doing here?
Sorry to bother you, but could you lend me some soy sauce?
Soy sauce?
To tell the truth, I live nearby.
Yeah, right. There's no way you could afford an apartment around here.
No, it's true. An old friend lent me a room on the second floor of an office nearby.
True. There are a few houses with corporate inscriptions on the nameplates.
Can I come in? Not that I have anything important to talk about.
Just go back to where you came from.
Cut me some slack here. Not that I have anything important to talk about.
You just said that twice.
Yeah.
Can you drop a hint any harder?
Hey, don't put your face so close to the camera. You're creating a pretty hilarious picture over here.
Now nobody's gonna marry me anymore. Take responsibility and let me in.
Christ. I get it already. You have 5 minutes. I buzzed her in, and Usami walked in through the entrance with a victorious cheer. I waited patiently for a few moments before the sounds of footsteps outside prompted me to undo the chain and deadbolt.
May I come in?
Don't poke your head out of a half-open door. It's creepy.
Alrighty then.
I didn't even hear Usami cross the threshold. She just managed to appear in the living room somehow. Well, spit it out. What's the matter?
Huh?
I'm asking you about the reason for this sudden visit. If you have something to say, you can just call, you know?
Tsubaki just came over to my house.
Huh? Tsubaki?
Oh? Do you have any secrets with Tsubaki?
Don't smell the bed. You won't find anything.
I tell you, it was quite a shock. Tsubaki suddenly bowed down and apologized to me at the door.
For her attitude lately?
Exactly. Not this hour, too. Apparently she went to the trouble to ask the school for my address.
Isn't that wonderful? You guys are friends again.
It was a relief for me, too. Thinking back on it, saying, the kid's back, so now let's go call the police was pretty insensitive.
You changed your mind?
Indeed. Tsubaki was deathly afraid of the kidnapper's retaliation. It's not my problem, so it's not right for me to butt in. Speaking of which, it's concern for your womanizing tendencies that has brought me over here tonight, you know.
I knew it. Tsubaki must have been jealous of Usami.
So, does the great Maou know how to love?
I'm not Maou.
Still, I even took time off from my part-time job to search for Mao's trail lately, and I don't even have a single lead.
Just give up then. Because it's not in my best interest for you to keep searching. I mean, nothing.
Mm-hmm. If I did that, my mom couldn't rest in peace.
Don't talk like she's dead. It's not funny.
You really crack me up, Asai-san.
After laughing for a while, Usami sporadically tensed up.
I will catch the tail of this devil.
Save that sharp look for him, then. Though I made a light joke, Usami's expression grew even harsher.
About this kidnapping.
What?
Please listen to me carefully.
Okay.
One question I've yet to answer is, how did the kidnapper take the stocks in the briefcase?
Does it really matter anymore?
Nah, probably not. Anyway, I wanted to keep this bit to myself, but I think there's something you should know.
What for?
So I can give one of those I've already seen through all your trick speeches.
And why am I the one on the receiving end of it, pray tell? Like I said, save it for Maou.
Too much trouble. Just listen if you would.
Realizing it was meaningless to continue fooling around with her, I shut my mouth for the moment.
First of all, why did Maou want the ransom in the form of stocks? We've discussed this before. The main reason is easy transport. But if so, there are other forms of legal tender which would suffice. For example, checks would work just fine.
I cut in. But when a check is cashed, it leaves a trail, doesn't it?
Yes. However, so do stocks. The corporation gives every share a PIN number, and using this PIN, the police could find out who bought or sold the correlated shares immediately.
True. In novels, the kidnapper usually asks for old bills with unsequential serial numbers instead of checks or stocks in order to decrease the risk. Of course, there are shady merchants in every trade. There are quite a few people one could sell to through a friendly third-party broker. Naturally, the police would have those places marked, and would probably still be able to track you down as a suspect.
In my opinion, obtaining 50 million yen wasn't Mao's goal.
I've thought about that too. If he only wanted money, he wouldn't have kidnapped Hiroaki.
Which means Maou likely never planned to cash the shares he got from Tsubaki's family. What could this mean?
She asked me this with a suspicious look. Rather than desiring the money for himself, he wanted Tsubaki's family to lose it?
The possibility of that is very high. Thus, I think he knew about the crash beforehand, and that's why he specified which stock he wanted.
You're saying he knew?
Remember teaching me about this, Azai-san? You told me that anyone affiliated with Sama Corporation would have known about the price drop.
Yeah, I learned that from Gonzo, though.
Maou did that to ensure that, whether or not he was able to obtain the ransom, Tsubaki's family would still be right where he wanted them.
If your theory is correct, this guy is freakishly cautious. Wouldn't that mean the moment Tsubaki's family used the money they got from the loan to buy shares, it was already Mao's victory?
And yet Maou still played out a huge drama the next day to snatch the ransom, successfully taking the shares in the end.
That's where it gets confusing, huh?
I think Maou saw that day as an excuse to have some fun.
Have some fun? I tilted my head in confusion.
Maou accomplished his goal of taking the Mio family shares. At the same time, he played a game with me.
Hey now, you make it sound like this Maou guy was pretty sure of himself. He could have been caught by the police at any time.
That's probably why he used the shares as a form of insurance. That way, he could have his fun without having to worry about putting his main goal in jeopardy. If anything happened midway, Maou would probably have given up on the kidnapping and vanished into the fog.
Whatever the case, he's a maniac, which is why I have to ask. It's my turn to ask questions. Why is Maou playing this game with you?
As I said before, I think Maou is testing me.
That's what I'm asking. Why would he test a strange girl like you?
Because I'm one of the few that know of Mao's existence and his past crimes.
Usami's eyes narrowed.
Also, I think Maou hates me as much as I hate me.
I clicked my tongue. You're not going to tell me the details, are you?
Sorry.
She stuck her tongue out. All right, fine. Let's get back to business.
Sure. So how did Maou get the ransom?
Wasn't the theory that I copied the coin locker's key beforehand? I stared at her, and Usami smiled.
Wasn't that what happened?
True enough. You asked me to keep an eye on the lockers for a while.
Right? You could have easily just opened the locker with a copied key during that time.
There's a surveillance camera in the locker bay, isn't there? You should be able to see me taking the ransom if you watch the tapes.
That was pretty stupid of you then, Azai-san.
Enough. I can't prove your idea wrong, but you should come up with another theory.
Another theory?
What would be the most plausible way to snatch the ransom? Usami nodded deeply.
I've got an idea, but there's no evidence.
It's okay. Say it. All your rudeness may be forgiven after you tell me.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Her smile cut off immediately, and her eyebrows moved up.
I only noticed it after the incident ended, and it really got on my nerves. That day, there was something strange about the kidnapper's requests.
Usami raised a finger.
The kidnapper feared the interference of the authorities, correct?
Yeah. I nodded, remembering what I heard from Tsubaki. I thought as much too. Suddenly, a light bulb turned on in my head, and my eyes went round. Wait, that can't be right.
And why would you think that?
I'm not sure about the details, but Tsubaki was questioned by a passing policeman at one point.
Yes. It was in the high-class residential area of the Southern District.
Is that a coincidence? Or... I stopped abruptly. Eh? As if someone had grabbed my throat. I couldn't continue my sentence. See, Mao's making you shut up, Kyousuke.
That's right, Azai-san. Maou probably took the ransom from the briefcase. Right in front of Tsubaki's eyes. Maou, who originally feared the police, disguised himself as the police. The coincidental police interview, his intentional agitating of Tsubaki all day, the ruckus all over the city, they were all traps. Don't you think it's strange? Tsubaki escaped without answering their questions, right? It's amazing there was no major fuss. But even if nothing major was caused, it's hard to imagine that cautious Maou letting Tsubaki go and continuing the trade. If you follow through with this to the end, all the pieces begin to match up. Her dramatic reveal face, though. Get that finger out of your nose, girl.
It isn't in her nose, it's on her nose, or in front of her face.
Wouldn't putting your finger on your nose like that, like, make your dramatic reveal all nasally?
No, if it's on the tip of the nose.
That would ruin it.
Like, I have my finger on the tip of my nose right now, and I don't sound nasally, do I?
Eh.
And, like, her hand could be a couple inches in front of her face, too.
Dramatic hand pose.
Yes.
Look how pretty my nails are while I tell you this stuff.
Well, it's like Okabe posing.
Yeah, that makes it worse. Why did Maou tell us to put the shares in a briefcase?
At least she's smarter than Okabe.
Yeah. Hey, I love Okabe. Especially towards the end there. The shares by themselves are already convenient enough to carry around, so why would he go out of his way to order them into a bulky briefcase? It kept bothering me as I followed Tsubaki around. Now that I think back, it's really ridiculous. I hate myself for not realizing it earlier. Maou should have been wary about the police, but he let Tsubaki carry his suitcase as clearly made her stand out. He even chose the Southern District's residential area for the exchange, an area that the police patrol frequently. It wasn't until after the incident was already over that I figured it out. He chose a huge black suitcase so people would think it's normal for the police to come up and ask about it. It fooled me into thinking that, at least, it didn't feel out of the ordinary at all. After all, if you came across a suspicious vehicle parked right on the road in a high-class residential area like the Southern District, it's only natural to think a patrolling policeman might knock on the window. I was totally fooled into believing that Tsubaki was caught by the police because of her bad luck. There were two officers. One questioned the panicked Tsubaki, and the other, probably a friend of Maou, searched the car. He most likely opened the suitcase and took the shares at that time. Tsubaki probably doesn't remember the policeman's face or voice. Maou was, without a doubt, well aware of just what state of mind Tsubaki was in back then. Then again, I don't have any room to talk. I should have paid more attention to the police myself. After all this time, I only remember that they pulled their caps down and one of them had a long nose. I got the impression that he was a foreigner. That was probably the most critical moment of the whole event to Maou. It wouldn't have been unheard of for real police to show up there. A few days ago, I pretended to have lost my way and went to the police station with this idea in mind. From what I saw, it seemed that the patrol times were fixed. It's possible that Maou researched these details himself. I asked around too, and the police in that station didn't patrol a team of 2 anytime recently.
Usami's piercing eyes forced a touch of caution into my next statement. I see. So you do, at least, have some backing to your theory.
But it's only a guess, mind you.
Usami frowned again.
If we don't catch Maou, then this is pointless.
Her eyes grew even more piercing and profound than before.
Maou, he made Tsubaki, dragged Tsubaki into this when she didn't have anything to do with it.
A frightening glare filled with resentment.
That's unforgivable. Wouldn't you agree, Azawa-san?
I stood against Usami's attention and provoked her with my own glare in return. Unforgivable, Usami. For some reason, my heart was calm. I unknowingly took on a dignified attitude. It was almost like there was something inside me, accepting her challenge, and at the same time, showing enough confidence to say that she was not a threat. What if, as she claims, I'm Maou? Though I know for sure it couldn't be true. A small voice somewhere laughed and said it wasn't so bad either. Ellipses. Ellipses. Peaceful days passed after Usami's visit to my room. The Miwa family has already left their old home and relocated to an apartment near the building I live in. I guess Tsubaki's busy with housework, as we haven't spent much time together lately. After all, I've been trying to keep my distance from her. Kyousuke-chan, isn't it about time for club activities? Oh, come on. We don't have anything to talk about. I guess so. I mean, you're an evil, wrathful god, right? Huh? What do you mean, huh? Remember how much you were into it during that time with Cannon? You only come out to crush your opposition. Cannon's been absent for quite a while. It's because of her skating or whatever. But that little bitch sure is insolent, huh? Stop overreacting. No way. She's the one who's so full of herself. Wasn't she in a commercial recently? She was. Which one are you talking about? You know, that ice cream ad. Oh, and the car one. Yeah, I think I might have seen them. The media eats that little brat up. Well, she is pretty cute, with those long limbs and all. That's why she's so popular. She has an agent, and I think she gets offers pretty often. That's fine and dandy, but what the hell happened to her honing her skills? She's been doing nothing recently but hamming it up and building her popularity. I don't know much about Cannon's actual results, but I think at some point there's a correlation between popularity and ability. That's just you being naive. It's okay, I understand. If it's as you say, then I'll just have a nice talk with her.
Morning, A-chan.
Cannon appeared out of nowhere and slapped Aichi's shoulder. Hey, Cannon-chan! Your smile is as bright as ever! Yo, Cannon, Aichi was just saying how much he's aching to tell you something. Yeah.
What is it?
Aichi lifted his chin and marched towards Cannon. Cannon-chan, the tournaments are coming up soon, right?
Yep, there are 3 more this year.
Plus Worlds, right? The other 3 tournaments pale in comparison to the World Figure Skating Championships.
What about Worlds?
Think you'll qualify?
Yeah?
You don't take part in Worlds just by saying yeah. There's only 1 spot for Japan this year, right?
Yep, but I'll still be there.
Didn't you miss the last Worlds?
I withdrew, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Your hip was in pain.
So what about it?
Well, doesn't that mean you're the reason behind Japan's loss of 2 participant invitations to the upcoming World Championship?
What do you mean? Why's that?
Because the competitor count for the tournament depends on the country's results in the previous year. Cannon's mouth hung open as she nodded. If you had skated back then, I'm sure you would have ranked high.
You got that right.
We sent out 3 skaters last year, and in the end, we still got our asses kicked. What do you think about that?
Someone asked me the same question before. I never thought about that. No matter how much the others lose, I'm going to win anyways. 1 skater is more than enough.
You're so full of yourself, Cannon-chuan. Suddenly, as if he were talking about the devil himself, his face became hilariously terrifying. Cannon-chan, people are calling you the rising star who holds Japan's figure skating future.
So I've heard.
Why?
Why? Because I stand out, and I can do the triple.
Yeah, you've been able to do a triple axel since you were in the juniors, right? Aichi seems really into this. You'd already conquered the Grand Prix and Japan Championships. How could you injure your hip all of a sudden?
Yeah, they didn't report it on TV, but the truth is I was bumped into by another skater during the Japan Championships open practice.
Eh? No way!
It happens all the time. It wouldn't have been all that big a deal, but I landed on it weird. I still managed to force myself to victory that day, but it started to become a really big problem after the match.
Don't talk about it like it's someone else's business. Anyway, the entirety of Japan figure skating's future depends on you now.
The sponsors say the same thing. When our participant quota dropped from 3 to 1, people even started to get worried about the popularity of figure skating.
Enough from behind the scenes. I just want you to win. That made Cannon smile brightly.
Got it. Thanks, A-chan.
She tapped Aichi's shoulder, turned back, and laid across her desk as if nothing had happened. Aichi turned around, sporting a cocky attitude, as if he had pulled one over on her. Fucking pro, huh? Oh, please. You did nothing but cheer her up. No way! I totally shut that big mouth of hers! Despite the arrival of the snowy season on the other side of the window, the warmth of the school remained. You keep thinking that, Aichi. Oh yeah, I remember now.
About what?
Nothing. I just remembered Cannon's hip injury during last season's World Figure Skate Championships.
What?
Damn, Kyousuke! How do you get a rise out of her like that? Man, Gonzo, Papa was so furious. Furiously worried about her, I mean. You remember that, Cannon?
Papa took me to a lot of hospitals.
And for some reason, he beat me so much that I found myself wondering if I'd be the next to check in.
Last season was such a pity. I bought tickets for this one too. You can count on me to be there and cheer you on. Oh, so you managed to get them. Hey, you can really put some effort into it. He never took the phone out of his hands from the moment the telephone order hotlines opened up until the tickets were ordered. Did you order one for me?
Usami raised her arm nervously. You kidding? All this happened way before you transferred here, Usami.
Do you think they're all sold out by now?
Oh yeah, definitely. Figure skating might be in a slump right now, but Japan still loves ladies singles. And so do you, Aichi.
Could you think of a way to get me a ticket?
We could ask Gonzo.
Or don't? Could she buy one at the door? No, probably not.
I'd never say no to you, Usami. Tell you what, I'll take a look at some online auctions for you. It'll probably cost you anywhere between 50,000 and 100,000 yen, depending on the seat.
I'll take my chances at the door.
Kennen suddenly grabbed my hand and said,
Nissan, you'll come to the upcoming tournaments, right?
Which upcoming tournaments?
All three.
What are they called again? The NHK Trophy Finals and Japan Championships? All of them are going to be held in Japan, right?
Even the finals are being held in Japan this year. I got special tickets just for you.
Huh? Well, I am family. Do they give relatives special treatment?
Do I have some sort of special ticket too? Usami, please. No. Heroes don't get special treatment?
Well, I reckon I can go cheer you on at least.
I'll make the banner. Let me help too. I'm a master seamstress.
That's right. She even made a costume.
Oh yeah, the penguin.
What does she have to do to skate at Worlds? I heard there was only one Japanese skater allowed this year. That's my major concern. Kennen has never skated at Worlds before. You can't gain international fame if you've never done that, after all.
If I win all the rest of the tournaments, they'll definitely pick me.
That may be true, but... Apparently, they're choosing the girl for Worlds based purely on the Japan Championships this year. Oh? So... She only has to do well at the Japan Championships, and the other two don't matter that much? Well, the outcome of the finals will be taken more or less as reference.
It might be putting a lot of pressure on Kennenshin, but TV stations and newspapers have all started talking as if she's the one going to Worlds.
That's probably thanks to her victory in Canada. People are expecting a lot from her. Well, Worlds don't matter much to me. What I'd really like to see would be her winning the Olympics in 2 years. You're an idiot, Kyousuke-kun. Huh? Being called an idiot by Aichi is already humiliating enough, but Usami adding fuel to the fire really got on my nerves. If Kennenshin can't even make the Worlds, then the Olympics would barely even be a dream, right?
Come on, man.
Huh? What are you talking about? The next Olympics is in 2 years. Shouldn't the athletes there be based on next year's results? I know, right? I think so too, and there's a lot who agree, but...
Come on.
Will you shut up already? I pushed Usami aside and listened to what Aichi was saying. The qualifications for the Olympics were set at the end of the last Olympics Games. There was an argument about the new scoring system at the last Winter Olympics. That fiasco's got a lot of people worried this time round. Oh? Who's worried? The All Japan Figure Skating Union.
That name is so dull. Why do they need to use a foreign language anyway? Why can't they just call it the Nippon Figure Skating Union?
No friggin' way! Keep your mouth shut! You're breaking intellectual property laws!
Uh-huh.
Damn, where was I? You were about to tell me what she has to do to be selected for the Olympics in 2 years. Ah, right. Naturally, just as you said, her performance next year is really important. But still, there are a few other harsh requirements before that. Harsh requirements? Aichi's facial expression was teasing my ignorance, as if he had anticipated my question. The individual must have experience at Worlds. Oh, really? Let me get this straight. If Kanon misses this year's tournament, she can't take part in the Olympics, even if she gets full Karl marks next year?
Full Karl Marx?
What is your obsession with bad jokes, bro? Oh, shut up. Won't competition be tight? There can only be one Japanese skater this year, right? Reality is cruel. So even if there are other outstanding contestants, they automatically lose their qualification for the Olympics just because they've never competed internationally? Of course! An experience at Worlds within the previous 2 years is crucial! At the time this rule was passed, we had been able to send the full 3 competitors 2 years in a row. The head honchos in the sport probably never thought Japan would be in this situation this year.
Wait a second, Aichi. Aren't they thinking about revoking that decision?
Yeah, with Japan suddenly getting weaker, they're probably in a panic. Aichi nodded in triumph, as if all was as he'd foreseen. As for Kanon-chan, she didn't skate at Worlds last season because she abstained. However, she was qualified at the time, so it shouldn't be a concern. Well, that's how it works. You can call it a sport or an art form, but popular businesses are like that. Any TV station, any sponsor would praise a girl capable of bringing them the numbers they need. Kanon's that girl.
In any case, if Kanon wins the Japan Championship, she's home free. You got that right.
Kanon revealed a smile as bright as the winter sun and raised her arms energetically.
Chapter 3: The Mephistopheles Murders.
Megalipses. Ellipses. You seem to have something on your mind. It's been quite a while since the last time I was summoned. But, as always, Somiya's forehead is riddled with deep wrinkles of worry. That's why I called you. I can see that. A pleased look appeared in Somiya's eyes. I believe you know Azai Kanon? Yes, of course. She's my sister. Oh crap. Maou is Kyousuke.
Proof! Alright, we can stop being dumb about it now.
Somiya smirked coldly. What an interesting joke. With such a famous athlete in the family, you must be proud. Not at all. She's actually quite a handful, you see. In fact, I was just thinking how nice it would be to teach her a little lesson, to let her know her limitations. I would gladly have you do just that. Somiya spoke with sparkling eyes and a stiffened face. Give me the details. Somiya smiled and looked into my eyes. Are you familiar with the skater named Seta Makiko? I only remember her taking part in the last World's Championships. Sadly, I have negligible knowledge when it comes to art. Art? Are you referring to figure skating? It's show business. Just some cheap magic show.
It's dancing. I'd like to see you do it.
Yeah. Somiya condemned it as worthless, and still, I didn't feel any particular way about it. I fund Seta's organization. It took me quite an effort to secure her a spot at Worlds last season. Yep. The, accident with Kanon was intentional.
Yeah.
I see. So Seta is a gladiator you personally raised. I like the way you can see people as commodities. I'll take that as a compliment. Now, about Seta. Yes? Her condition's pretty good this season. She was the runner-up in the Russian leg of the Grand Prix, but she couldn't even scratch Azai Cannon's fame. Exactly. One could say fame is the only thing that matters in a scored event. Even if Seda and Cannon both gave the same performance, no doubt both the audience and the judges would end up evaluating Cannon the higher of the two. How's her technique? Though Seda's fundamentals likely match Cannon's, she doesn't have any selling points. So no big boobs? Selling points? Take jumps, for example. Cannon can not only perform a triple axel, but she even attempted a quad in the previous Canadian tournament. Did she succeed? She lost her balance after landing. Her hands touched the ice in the end. She was just one step away from writing her name into history. Cannon does sound like an attention grabber on the ice. And not to mention that tournament or the Olympics illegal costume.
Yeah.
I gave a wry smile while shaking my head. So, what are you telling me to do? I come to you when I need someone exploited. Somiya's face twisted as he spoke in a pleading tone. I know the price will be high, but there's no other man as reliable as you. If you want it done illegally, don't you have people in your employ to take care of that? Even the Yakuza won't be much help this time. They'll never admit it, but it's common knowledge that the Soa Alliance has Azai Cannon's back. There was an uneasiness in my heart. My previous kidnapping was a success for the most part. However, it was not without some element of danger. If Tsubaki's loyalty had ever wavered, the police would have surely gotten involved, and Usami nearly caught my arm along Central Boulevard. It would probably be best to stop with these games from here on out. But they really get my pulse pounding.
That sounds dirty.
If the Yakuza has her back, then we're absolved from police intervention, no? Yes. At the very least, we can rest assured that the Mafia won't go crying to the cops. There was much hope in Somiya's voice. I gazed at Somiya and repeated his words in my mind. The price will be high. My headache is getting more intense lately. Headache? Do you need to go see a doctor? The doctor can do nothing about it. It's a chronic disease I've had for many years now. Now this is surprising. This is the first time I've gotten a glimpse of the human side of you. As Somiya acted thankfully, I made a deliberate smile. Be at ease. I'll take the job. It seems he was worried I was going to use my illness as an excuse to refuse. Really? But he regained his cunning smile right away. But Cannon is family, isn't she? He stated it like he was joking. Being family doesn't preclude one from being human vermin. Perhaps the emotion on my face was too cold-blooded, as Somiya just kept his eyes wide open and his mouth shut tightly. I'm a hopeless man, one whose pain can only be eased by concocting plans to trap others. Hopeless indeed. It's like you live by sucking the life out of people. So it is. I nodded, and the two of us laughed darkly. My head doesn't hurt anymore. That night, I slept far more soundly than usual, as if I were a seed calmly awaiting the inevitable spring.